Did you just get an approval of your I-130 family petition? Yay! And you don't know what happens next? If so, watch this video. Hi, I'm Cecily Clements, founder of Root Migration. I help undocumented individuals achieve lawful status through consular processing without fear or confusion. In this video, I'm going to explain what happens after your Form I-130 family petition is approved by immigration. As always, the content in this video is very general in nature and does not apply to your specific circumstances. Watching this video does not create an attorney-client relationship between the two of us, and I'm not your attorney in your case. If you have questions about your specific situation or want to know how all of what I'm saying in this video applies specifically to you, I highly recommend that you schedule a consultation with a competent immigration attorney. If you'd like to consult with me about your case, there's a link in the description below. That'll take you to a website where you can read more about my services and click on a button that will take you to a pretty lengthy questionnaire that I have you fill out that will give me the information that I need. The charge for a consultation with me is $300. You can fill out the questionnaire, pay the $300, and actually go directly to my calendar and book your consultation. So please check that out if that's interesting to you. So the first thing that will happen after your I-130 is approved is you'll actually receive an approval notice in the mail from USCIS, which is immigration. This is what the I-130 approval notice looks like. And I'm just going to walk you through this document a little bit to show you the different information that exists. So first of all, right here under notice type, you can see it's an approval notice. Up here in the top left is the receipt number. That number also appears on the receipt when you first file the I-130. So that's consistent, and that's your way of tracking the case with immigration while the I-130 is pending. Here you see the date that this particular case was received with immigration, which is April 12th, 2022. And then the notice date of the approval is April 21st, 2023. So you can see currently taking about 1 year to approve these cases. The case type is an I-130 petition for alien relative. And then down here under section, this is where it'll describe the relationship between the petitioner and the beneficiary. In this case, they're spouses, and the petitioner is a U.S. citizen. And so up here you can see this is where they'll give you the petitioner name and the beneficiary name. I've blocked those out because these are my clients. I've used this approval notice with their permission, blocked them out to protect their privacy. But I just did want to note, in this particular case, both the petitioner and the beneficiary have A numbers. And I want to just briefly explain, A numbers are numbers assigned to individuals, non-citizens of the United States, who have some kind of application or contacts with immigration. So not everybody will have an A number, particularly petitioners who were born in the United States are not going to have an A number. This petitioner was not born in the United States. He was brought here as a child, but later became a United States citizen. And so he did, in fact, have an A number. And then his wife, for whom he's petitioning, the beneficiary, she has an A number because she has been in deferred action for childhood arrivals status for quite some time, what we call DACA. And so she happens to have an A number, but very frequently there won't even be any A numbers there because for beneficiaries that are undocumented, they haven't had any contact with immigration, they won't have an A number. So the other thing that I want to point out is that when you're doing a consular processing case, the approval notice should say that they're sending the case to the U.S. Department of State National Visa Center. If approval notice doesn't say that, that's a problem for consular processing cases. You want to make sure to correct that. I actually have a video that goes over all errors to avoid when you're filling out your I-130. So if you want to check that video out, it'll be in the description below. Here's another example of an I-130 approval notice. This scan is just in color, so that's why it looks a little bit different, but for the most part, it's exactly the same. This particular I-130 was received on September 6, 2022 and approved on July 29th, 2023. So a little shy of 1 year. You can see here that neither the petitioner nor the beneficiary have A numbers, and this is a different relationship. This is an adult citizen of the United States that's petitioning for their parent. You can see it's the same thing because this is a consular processing case. It indicates that the file will be sent to the Department of State National Visa Center, which we call the NVC, and that's critical. We need that to happen for the next step in the consular processing case to happen. After getting the I-130 approval notice, you'll receive an email from the National Visa Center. The first email you receive from the National Visa Center is called Notice of Immigrant Visa Case Creation. And this will get sent to you as well as any representative or lawyer that was helping you with the I-130. So the most important thing to know about this correspondence is that it gives you two very critical case numbers. One is the NVC case number and the other is the invoice ID number. Obviously, it's important to read all of the instructions that are included in with this notice. These two numbers are really important as the case moves along. And so you want to make sure that you save this email and maybe even store these numbers in a place that's very safe and secure and that you can access relatively easily. Two things I'll note quickly right now is this gives you the URL for a website called CEAC, or Consular Electronic Application Center. I'll be dealing with that a little bit later in the video. And also, it's really important to understand that once your case is at the NVC, you need to be in contact with the NVC at least once a year. I'll probably do another video that talks about how to do that and how to accomplish that and goes into more detail about that. But I just want to mention here that if you allow your case to be with the NVC for more, like just pending with the NVC for more than a year without contacting them in some fashion, you may run the risk of losing your I-130 that was approved. So it's important to note the date that you received this email and just make sure that you have it on your radar that you need to do something with the NVC before letting a whole year pass. Has anyone watching received an I-130 approval notice and you're confused about the next steps? Put a comment below and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have or help you out. So the next thing that you will get is another email from the National Visa Center called the Introduction to Document Collection. This is what the Introduction to Document Collection email looks like. It typically comes shortly after the case creation email. For whatever reason, in this particular case, they did not send me the Introduction to Document Collection email. I did get the first email, but not the second one. So my client forwarded it to me. And so I just point that out to note for those of you who are working with attorneys. For some reason, the National Visa Center sometimes doesn't include your attorney on correspondence. So it's a good idea to check in with your attorney when you get these emails. The email that the National Visa Center was going to use is the one that you put on the documents for your I-130. There's a place on the I-130 form to put down your email. So make sure when you're filling out the I-130, you put a good email, a good working email, and that you don't change your email. The National Visa Center is also able to mail documents. They do that sometimes. By and large, overwhelmingly, they do email. So you really want to make sure the email that you put down on the I-130 is a good one for the National Visa Center to use later. This email is, of course, important to read. It goes through all the documents that need to be submitted to the National Visa Center in advance of your immigrant visa interview at the consulate abroad. In the next step, I'm going to talk about the Consular Electronic Application Center, which is sort of the fourth step in this video. And that's where you would actually upload these documents and provide this information to the National Visa Center. So we will move on to that step. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to show you on this video is the Consular Electronic Application Center, or how we like to call it around here, CEAC. This is the U.S. Department of State Consular Electronic Application Center website. I'm on the section for immigrant visas because that's what we're talking about today. In order to log into this website, you will need those two numbers, case numbers that were provided to you in the Notice of Immigrant Visa Creation email. So you have to make sure that you have those numbers handy. So the first thing that you're going to do is click on you've read the Privacy Act notice, and then you put in that first number here where it says case number. On the Notice of Immigrant Visa Creation email, it's called the NVC case number. And so that case number always starts with 3 letters, which signifies the country where you're going to be doing your immigrant visa interview. In this case, my client is from Guatemala, and so that's why it says GTM. You hit continue, and then now we want to put in the invoice ID number. You select your role in the case. So of course I put attorney, but you could put, if you're the applicant or the petitioner, and some people have a third-party agent, but I always put attorney. And then you need to put in the characters as shown. And so this allows you to get into your particular case at the Consular Electronic Application Center, CEAC. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail today because I'll do a whole separate video on really what happens at this stage of the case. But this is where you're going to do things like pay the fees fill out the immigrant visa application is right here. That's already been completed in this case. And you're going to upload financial documents and you're going to upload civil documents. Like I said before, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about SEAC on this video. I'll be definitely recording a video in the future about SEAC in more detail and about all the documents that need to be uploaded, how to pay the fees, how to fill out the immigrant visa application. So be sure to hit subscribe on my channel and request notifications so you can be notified of any future videos I create. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or anything else that you'd like me to do a video on, drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to answer your questions or record other videos on topics that you're interested in. Also, if you'd like to schedule a consultation with me, the link is below. Like I said, it leads you to a questionnaire. You pay the $300 consultation fee and you can go directly to my calendar. So thank you so much for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one.